Right then, so after losing and setting up our new obstacle in which our protagonist will have to eventually overcome, he's asked the age-old question, why do you play Vanguard? And although we don't get an answer here, we still have some intriguing topics to talk about. So, let's get into it. Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downstone. Today we're talking all things episode 2 of the Cardfight Vanguard Divinez Deluxe arc. An interesting episode that speaks about questions and ideals, but still gets us set up ready for future episodes to come. So without further ado, let's start off by talking about Akina. Now I loved how we've gone from this mentality of someone who has had to fight for a greater purpose in saving his sister or saving a friend and stopping mass destruction to living a life of peace and calm, but then not knowing what to fight for next. Like, this is kind of almost like a hero slaying the final boss and then not knowing what to do after his journey is complete. And I really do like this because it opens up a different aspect, a different element that the character will have to now explore. Yes, the whole finding the reason why you want to card fight is very simple, but I think it could be very effective in this situation. Hikari's answer of just having fun is a valid answer as well, but that's not enough to give you that extra drive and motivation. Having a goal and having big reasons to fight gives you more of that desire, determination and willingness to find a new power / path to victory. And that's obviously what Akina is kind of somewhat realizing when he says, why do I feel like just having fun isn't enough? And it's also, when you look at it, Akina has had fun throughout the fated clash and the destined clash, but at the same time, you can't really say that it's been a fun experience all around. So for him, he probably needs to have some good card fights to bring out his excitement and his joy once more. We've seen it in many different genres of card game animes and shows where the protagonist has had to go up against countless life-threatening and world-ending destruction, and they've lost their smile, love and passion. So maybe this is another route we can go down for Akina as well. Kind of similar to Judai from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, where he kind of fell out of dueling after the 3rd season. If you've watched season 4, you'll know what I mean. Okay then, so back to Akina. Now Akina has also had his ideals about miracles questioned, as well as being shown a different way of creating said miracles. It was really cool in having Kagetsu question if it really is a miracle that Raziel creates, because it does help you create the situation where your chances are better at that said miracle happening. So could this in turn play into hesitation for Akina in future matches? Maybe he hesitates in using his divine skill as a crutch to rely on to get through his matches. We don't know the details and specific of this year's deluxe tournament rules. We don't know if it's going to be a straight knockout round style tournament or if there's room for errors and losses. Now, if it is a situation where you can afford to lose 1 or 2 matches, I can see a situation where we get a glimpse at the Season 1 Akina who would change his deck strategy to meet the challenge of his opponent. Because if he does this, I'm sure he's going to struggle to adapt and find new paths to victory, but at the same time, this would be good development for their character and good strategy building. So yeah, this would be another season of self-reflection and development for Akina, with the way in this kind of mirrors his struggles in Season 2, where Hikari was asking him what his own wish was, which he had to kind of learn and discover for himself whilst he battled strong opponents. This time though, the end of the world isn't looming over our heads. Or is it? After all, we do get a slight shift in tone from Kagetsu after the match. We hear a voice within his head talking to him, which obviously will need to be explained and expanded upon, hopefully more in the future. And hopefully this isn't Psyqualia, or some form of that. Plus, his eyes did go rather dull when talking to Akina after the match. But I do think this is thanks to some sort of memory that he's kind of recalling. because that dullness gets shown after he asks Akina about his reason for playing Vanguard. And then later states why he asked someone that, because asking somebody that question could kill a person. So maybe the reason as to why Kagetsu stopped playing, because someone asked him that very question and he couldn't find the answer, which killed his passion and love for the game. That's until this mysterious voice in his head appeared. Well, that's just me speculating, but I think that makes sense, because we don't have very much information on this character yet, but it would be pretty cool to learn more as we go through. As for Kagetsu's deck, this thing was awesome. Having 16 of the same unit was just wild. Plus that with 16 triggers, you know half his deck already, or just over. Now, 16 Ravra Crows, a grade 2 unit that can also boost from your back row, is obviously a lot of cards when using a presumably 50 card deck. But this does still have more room for more units to be revealed, so it's exciting to see what he's going to show in his future matches. Will he stick with the same strategy that we saw in this episode, or will he showcase something new moving forward? Now, just purely looking at his units, these things look amazing in terms of their design, especially Gatekeeper of the Moon. I love how even though we've seen a good amount from his units already, I feel like there is still more to come, because we haven't seen a Persona ride yet, and we could have extra skills to unlock. Now, they've already teased a potential matchup against Michiru, plus returning to Kagetsu's character, his playstyle is kind of similar to Akina's, but he does have a lot of discipline, strategy, and deck manipulation / control, as he knows what he's used and what is left in his deck for him to pull, creating a bit of a classic Masaki-esque type of playstyle that we saw from the original series when she was using Oracle Think Tanks. As a side note, that dark flamed wolf that Kagetsu used did remind me of Fenrir from Norse mythology, especially with all this talk about archangels and the moon and heavens. But then we still have this new card that Akina gets given, which looks very much like an older Royal Paladin unit, but it does have this contrast of light with Akina and the darkness with Kagetsu. Keeping in mind they're going to be rivals moving forward, I do like this contrast. So then moving to Erika. Seeing her within this episode was a massive joy, as we see her interactions with Hikari, and it's understandable that these two have a bit of awkwardness between them, yet it's clear that they both love their brother and are always on the same page when it comes to Akina. It's unfortunate we don't get to see any interactions between Erika and Akina at the festival, because he literally invited her, so why don't we see that interaction? But hopefully she can still guide Akina of some sorts and help him find his answers, as he's helped her a lot within the past, and it would be a sweet thing to see her return the favour, if only a little. As a side note though, seeing Erika keeping the Garbelius plush was super cute, and the outro having her character as the main one of focus, showing bits of her journey / freedom, and her having this kind of wholesome joy of seeing nature as she explores the world was great. And the sadder emotional part of the ending as well was bittersweet, but I loved how we see her meeting her friends at the end, and it lights her up and makes her world happier. Plus Hikari in this outro, not really facing Erika, was in line with this awkwardness and tension that we have between these two characters, so I like that little detail. Overall, this episode was a lot of build-up and connection building, but also showcasing of a great card fight, while allowing us to see more of the characters and their emotions and what we can expect moving forward. I think Mirai is coming in the next episode, so I'm super excited to see that, and hopefully she gets a win to start off the deluxe arc. What did you think of this episode? Did you enjoy it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, hit like, comment and subscribe for more things Yu-Gi-Oh! And Cardfight Vanguard related. Have a great day. Alligator, matane, goodbye.